All right, what is up, YouTube world? This is Eric Stone with Expiring Music Writer YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, suggest, dislike. I don't care. Just something to get my ratings up and more subscribers and more views and comments. But anyways, this video that I'm going to be doing is a review of a band called J.T. Hubbard and the Damn Thing. They play originals and covers of Red Dirt, 90s country, a little bit of rock, newer country sometimes. They're really great. One of my favorite local bands from where I go watch music in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I live about an hour from there. But they played last night, yeah, at New Myers Rib Room on Garrison Avenue in Fort Smith, Arkansas. It used to be down a little bit further. It used to be called, there was a bigger place called New Myers Rib Room, and they had really great barbecue and bands there. I saw Ted Nugent there many years ago. In the middle of, it was either July, August, it was hotter than shit. Great show, just hot as hell. And then it went from there to the sound room, and then after that it was the Majestic, which it still is. And they opened in 2019, I think. The Majestic did. But anyways, the Rib Room moved up the street, up and across the street a few years ago. I don't honestly know how their barbecue is, but I've heard it's great. Great. So if you're ever in Fort Smith and you're on Garrison Avenue, right before you, coming through, right after the Garrison Bridge, if you're in Oklahoma, or right before the Garrison Bridge, when you're in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Check it out. Great staff. I don't know who the owners are, but everybody was nice to me. I've been there. That was the first time I've ever been there. I had a Shiner Bock. I love Shiner Bock beer. But JT and the Damn Thing is comprised of JT Hubbard, and he also is in a band, works with a guy named Bryce Dacus out in Tulsa, and you can see them, or him, with him, JT with Bryce, and also listen to Bryce's music. I think it's under Bryce A. Dacus and the Mercenaries, and then with Jake Marlin and the Reckless, another great guy out of Oklahoma. They've got a few things out on streaming platforms, and this is good beer. Natural Light, because I'm poor. But anyways, JT, and then the bassist is Steve Carney, and the guy on the Skins is Andrew Holland, and I've known Andrew for a little bit longer than I've known JT. Andrew was in a band called Willie Stradling years ago when I first started, was old enough to get into like bars, 21. So anyway, so it's a three-piece trio, and they're great. Like I said, they do Red Dirt, 90s country, a little bit of rock, a lot of originals. They did 3 sets that night. The first set, I think they did 9 songs. They kicked off with an original called Son of a Gun, then went into another original that JT wrote with Bryce Dacus called Anywhere But Tulsa. Then they covered Chris Knight's Cry Lonely, which he said is his favorite Chris Knight song to play. And also, Crosscat and Ragweed recorded that song on Mission, California. I can't remember what year that album came out, but anyways, afterwards they did I can't remember what I call this when I used to write them up. They kicked off Radney Foster's in Texas in 1880. Actually, Foster and Lloyd, and they went into Should Have Been a Cowboy, Toby Keith. His very first single in 1993, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was the most played song of the 90s. And they went back in and finished Texas in 1880. Foster and Lloyd recorded it. And then I know Radney Foster went back with Pat Green and recorded it. I don't know if he's actually recorded it by himself. And they afterwards, it was another original called Devil in Danielle. Another original called Along for the Ride. Then one of my favorite songs that I love bands to cover, Please Come to Boston. And I honestly will say, I did not like that song at first when I first heard it years ago. I think the version I heard was David Allan Coe's version. And I just did not, it was one that it took a long time for me to really like it. But I love when bands do it. Then afterwards, they did a casino song, original, called Lucky, and they ended with Waylon Jennings' Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way? Afterwards, they took about a 15-minute break. They kicked back, or got back on stage and did, let me see. I think 7 or 8 songs, because it's a little bit different from what my set list says, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just got to figure out. But they kicked off with Turn It Down. I think that was an original. Then Girl on the River, that's a great song. And then they covered Tougher Than the Rest, and that was written by Bruce Springsteen and written by Bruce Springsteen, and then he recorded it, and then years later, Chris Ledoux recorded it. And he was talking about before he did it, that him and a buddy that had come out there, they listened to that song all the time. And then they went way back in the Red Dirt days and covered Mike McClure's The Great Divide's Yesterday Road. Then they did a song called Fat Kid, and it's not a funny song, and it's one that I never heard of. It's by Austin Jensen, or Jinx. And it's not spelled like Jinks like Cody. It's like Genchs. He wrote that with Laura McKenna. Check it out on YouTube. It's a badass song. Especially, like, you get to think about your high school days and this and that. Laura McKenna wrote a lot of songs on the new Wade Bowen album. And look for that review. I'll be doing that and Whiskey Myers. Newest Tortillo album review, and then some other ones I'm going to do. Afterwards, that they did Voodoo Girl. It's an original. And then JT's buddy wanted to hear I Walk the Line by Johnny Cash, The Man in Black. They did that and 3 or 4 other Johnny Cash songs. And then they did one of my favorite songs that JT's wrote. It's a political song, like being in the middle, whether you're left or right. It's called American. Look for it on JT Hubbard Than Damn Thing. I've recorded it multiple times. It's a great song. It's not really more conservative or liberal. It's just down the middle, and it reminds me a lot of a kind of a sound. The sound of the song is more like reminds me of like early John Mellencamp, Johnny Cougar Mellencamp, whatever you want to call him. And then They did a song for an elderly man. He was blind, but he loves music. I guess he's a Fort Smith native. And they ended up doing a Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good for him. And they ended with that set with Wildest in the West. And that is an original they've got out on streaming platforms. And it was debuted on streaming platforms August 4th, about 3 weeks ago. They did took another short break, and they come back and did a little short set. I think they did a Shot in the Dark. It's an original great song. Also look that up. I've got it recorded 3 or 4 times. JT Hubbard and the Damn Thing. Like This Town, I think it was the one he wrote with Jake Marlin. That's a really great song. Then they covered Wade Bowen's Mood Ring, and I love their version of it. I've got that one recorded a couple times too. They did Reckless Kelly's Crazy Eddie's Last Herrera. I know I'm not saying that right. And then they did, somebody in the audience suggested they do a 17 by Ragweed. My favorite song. I've actually got it. You can't see it very well, but a tattoo of their shield, and it says Crossland Ragweed. And it has the Canadian maple leaf. It says 17 in the middle. But anyways, my favorite, they actually did sound check to that song too. And they ended with Fast As You by Dwight Yoakam. But JT is a great musician, great guy. They've also got merch for sale now. This is his shirt. It says JT and the Damn Thing. And then on the back, it's got a skull with a cowboy hat. I think it's 3 skulls because of the trio. And it says JT and the Damn Thing, and then Wildest in the West. If you want, I think they got hats. I know they got koozies and shirts. But log on to JT Hubbard and the Damn Thing.com to look up if you're not in Fort Smith or be able to go to a show, but you like their sounds. Buy their merch. And that's all I've got for this one, and I will see y'all later.